Hello there, Tython. Killer Clowns here, your guild leader. I'm here to present our 2021 plan with a specific focus on the first half of the year. Here are the topics that I will cover in today's presentation. This is our officer corps for the first half of 2021. All of these gentlemen are extreme gamers in their own right and have a lot of experience in Tython. You can see that we break it down by guild events, as well as having an East Coast guy to help us fill in the gaps with the time zones. For those who were with us for most of 2020, you know that 2020 was really a very significant banner year for us. Although we had to change guild leadership at the beginning of the year, we still dramatically improved over the course of the year, starting the year at about 140 million GP and ending the year at 100 million greater, 240 million GP. We were a good GOTB guild at the beginning and a superlative one. 30 stars, almost 45 watch shards every month, and now we're at 2K plus get to from the SMs. We tried out light side geo for the first time ever at the beginning of last year. It was kind of rough, tough sledding, but by the end of the year, 15 stars, 5 cam, and we maxed light side Hoth, and obviously we're even doing better now at the beginning part of 2021. And from a TW point of view, we've always been good. We were good at the lower tier, and now we're very good at the 225 million plus tier, which is the top tier, and getting better. We keep the requests to our players to a minimum, but we do try to ask players to farm like items and focus on like items so that we accelerate our progress as a guild. So coming out of 2020, all players really should have checked the box on all of these items. If you are looking at this slide and find that you're behind on any one or multiple items, then now is the time to just kind of check your plan, dust off any tunes or squads that need to be beefed up a little bit, and get back on track for the rest of the guild and to prepare yourself for 2021. From a graphical point of view, here's where everybody should be with their teams. Everybody should have very strong separatists, and then some nice other squads such as JKR squad, as well as some nice GR teams and GR or separatist fleets. But moving forward from the look back to the look ahead is when it gets very exciting. I think that our lesson from 2020 is that this is going to be the year of the GL. This is the year that guilds that have many players, if not all 50 players, farming GLs and working on GL counters are going to find themselves successful in every guild event that has been rolled out by CG, including CPIT. Let's get into it. We don't know what CG is bringing in the future. We only know what CG has given to us. So the majority of this presentation, the focus of this presentation, will be mainly on the first half. At some point, we do believe that CG is going to roll out new GLs. We do believe that CG will roll out new game modes for either the player or the guild. For now, we're going to deal with what we know. From a guild perspective, the officer corps and I believe that these are the right goals for us. We believe that we'll continue to organically grow in Dark Side Geo, doing well in the first half, stabilize at the 30-star level with 2,000 plus extra get to from the SMs. Moving into 31 to 32 stars, let's gold 31 stars, and if we reach 32, then we'll really celebrate. But 31 stars in the second half, again, nicely stabilized with the extra get to from the SMs. On the light side, this is where we're going to put a lot of our emphasis in the guild this year because we focused so hard on the dark side last year. So in the first half here, we'd like to get to 18 stars, and we'd like all 50 players to have cam ready teams and make an attempt at the cam shard. As that experience level builds up and as people gear up their light side teams, we believe in the second half that we'll definitely get to 20 plus stars. And not only will we have 50 cam attempts, but those 50 cam attempts should yield 20 plus cam shards. In TW, we will continue our focus. TW is part of the Tython identity. We will continue to win at a high rate at the 90% plus win rate in the first half. And as we develop and farm more GLs and gain more experience on countering GLs, I believe we'll move up to the 95% plus success rate in the top 225 million plus tier. As part of that exercise and as part of our game plan, we'd like to see each player reduce the number of extra attacks placed in TW. As a guild, let's goal being under 40 for the first 6 months of the year, and then let's move towards a sub 30 mark for the second half of the year. In terms of GL farming, this is the year of the GL. We'd like to leave the first half with 40 plus GLs as a guild, and we'd like to sort of conclude the year on New Year's Eve with 80 plus GLs. And then finally, the new game mode that was rolled out right at the end of last year, CPIT. We have a goal to solve it on a weekly basis. I'm going to comment about it a little bit later in the presentation. And then next week, I'm going to roll out a formal CPIT operational model for the guild. And we'll really go deep into what it will take for Tython to solve CPIT and solve it weekly. While it's good to know the guild goals, to know that you're part of a very successful guild oriented for both 2021 and into 2022, the most important aspects would be what you as a player need to do. This is the area that is completely within your area of control. From a dark side geo point of view, we'd like to see every player at 50 plus waves. This is really was our goal last year, so we're just rolling this goal into the first half of this year. Any players that are in sort of the 40 to 50 range, go ahead and polish off your dark side tunes and get to the 50 plus waves. You should already be doing the P1 SM with your 7-star Watt. Once you have 7-star Watts, we'd like you to be able to do both P1 and P4. And then we'd also like an emphasis on the P4 Fleet CM. That Fleet CM, if you haven't followed along the dialogue about it, it is the difference between 29 stars for the guild and 30 stars for the guild. And it will always be the difference between 29 and 30 stars. So as long as we have approximately 35 plus people successful at that P4 Fleet CM, we will always get 30 stars. From a light side geo point of view, we'd like to see each player at 20 plus waves. The vast majority of our players are at 10 plus waves, and getting to 20 plus waves really becomes a gearing exercise. Getting those light side tunes and light side squads that you like to play with in light side geo up to the higher relic levels. This will take the RNG out of the mode to a certain extent. The light side geo will always be an RNG dependent mode, but from a guild perspective, if all 50 of our players are running with light side teams that are very nicely relicked, we should see, for the most part, 20 plus waves per player. On the TW side, really no difference this year from last year. The main difference is that the competition is just going to be harder. Everybody, including our guild, is farming and gearing and trying to do the right things with their games. So that means that every TW we go into, there is going to be an opportunity, a probability that you are going to face much tougher teams than you did last year or in the last few TWs. So from your point of view, from the player point of view, continue to focus on developing 3+ successful meta or near meta attack teams. Focus on how you play each war. If you have a loss, take a break. Try not to get more than one loss. Hopefully get through the war with 0 losses by always playing counters and attacking down. We have a lot of players with a lot of strength on the bench. No player here should feel like they need to stretch themselves for an attack. We continue to emphasize no preloading. It's very simple to avoid. As soon as you launch your attack and your turn is up, just go ahead and put your device on airplane mode. If you happen to be on a Chromebook, just take yourself off of Wi-Fi, do your attack, register it if you need to by coming back off airplane mode. If it's a loss and you weren't able to take out a tune, or in some cases, like facing a Kylo team, we say you either win or you don't register, regardless of what damage you might have done to that Kylo team. If you're in airplane mode, you will always be safe. And then finally for TW, you really should be looking at GL counters and GLs. This is going to be the name of the game for Tython this year, and really the name of the game for any player in a successful guild in Galaxy of Heroes. We're also going to start talking about CPIT. This will be my first comment on it. I have another slide about it, and then next week there'll be a real formal deep dive into the Tython CPIT operational model. But at a summary level, you should be R5ing a couple, at least 2 teams, if not up to 4 teams for the 4 phases. The primary candidates for every player in Tython would be the Padme GR team and the Gas 501 team. If you happen to have a GL and want to focus on your GL team, that's perfectly fine. But if you are just an average Tython player, Padme GR and Gas 501 are already essential elements to light side Geo, essential elements to having a cam-ready team, and essential elements for you to be a strong Tython player going forward. You might as well take these teams up into the R5 to R7 level so that you can comfortably participate in CPIT when called upon. And as normal, get your 600 regularly. Everybody's doing a really good job here, but I've got to spotlight it. So for the first half of this year, these are the plans that you should be putting into play. And the good thing about these ideas is that they don't just support the guild ideas and the guild goals. From a player point of view, you will be extremely successful in TW, extremely successful in TBs, and extremely successful in all of the arenas, Squad Arena, Fleet Arena, and Grand Arena by focusing on these objectives. For any player that is uncomfortable with their plans and wants to socialize it with some of the officers, get some feedback, and tune it up so that you're most efficiently improving your squads, please reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you. I have to salute CG. I think that they've made this a lot of fun for us because they give us options. Last year, we didn't have too many options. Last year, we had to focus on Separatists. Everybody had to work on their geos and get to the Watt mission. Everybody had to work on Separatist droids. Everybody had to gear up Dooku and Asajj and Newt. And then ultimately, once we 7-starred Watt, gear up Watt. It was a very Separatist-focused year last year. But this year, you can choose your path. Obviously, if you choose the dark side, you're going to see a lot of improvement on dark side Geo. And if you focus on a character like Kylo, you're also going to see that your performance in the raids dramatically jumps up. I should also mention that certain tunes such as Vader, Watt, Thrawn, focusing on them gives you very strong GL counters. If you focus on the light side, if you go after JKL and JML, for example, you're going to see your light side Geo performance jump up through the stratosphere. Those that get to JML with all that you had to do to get to JML will suddenly see their CM waves go from the low 10s to probably above 50, or at least well above 40. Regardless of which path you choose, you're going to see that your arena performance is going to benefit dramatically from pursuing a GL, and you're also going to see that your TW performance is going to be dramatically better. For us to be successful as a guild throughout 2021 and going into 2022, we do need to focus on GLs. And we recognize what an ask this is for players. It takes, on average, 4 to 6 months to unlock a GL, depending on where your starting point is, how many of the required tunes you need to 7-star, what gear levels they're at, and so on. And unfortunately, the work doesn't stop there. Unlocking the GL isn't enough. You then need to gear up the GL, you need to farm the ultimate ability for each GL, which CG slows down by forcing you to farm either light side or dark side nodes only. It is a significant undertaking, one that we as an officer corps completely understand. The good thing, though, is the game is designed such that this undertaking, once it's finished, creates such strength in a player's squad makeup that they are extremely effective in every mode, both on the player level and on the guild level. That's why we fully believe in this approach as being the right one for all Tythonians to take. From a guild point of view, we're going 20 new GLs every quarter. Obviously, we came into this year with some GLs are already hatched, and what that means is every sort of 6 months, or I should say every quarter, roughly half of the guild, a little under half of the guild, are hatching a GL. By the end of the year, that means we will be at 80 plus. Right now, we're ahead of our goal. We have 26 on board. They're not 26 perfectly formed, but we've got 26 unlocked. And so let's just keep following that progress and celebrating each new GL as players unlock them. Now, we know last year, because of the emphasis on dark side geo, we consistently underperformed on the light side and blamed RNG for most of our failings. But I think it turns out that watching players who have become successful at light side geo and looking at the investments they made, that this actually becomes an event that all of us can solve independent of the RNG that CG has coded into the event. From a baseline foundational point of view, everybody should be looking at farming and gearing the teams listed here to a nice relic level across their board, so that when they actually enter a given combat mission or even an SM like the CAM mission, they're going to have given themselves the most opportunity, the highest probability that they're going to score and score well. We know that P1 without the platoon assist is always going to be hard for every player, but what we found is that players with a strong JKR team, a strong Padme team, a strong 501 team, and then strong tunes such as Shock T and Gas do well in P2 through P4. So that no matter where they left P1, they make it all up in P2 to P4. We've also found that people with strong GR fleets do extremely well in the fleet CMs with or without B-tail-B Y-wing. So take a look at your squads, take a look at the squads of people who are successful in light side geo, and try to create a farming and gearing plan to make sure that you get to where you want to be. For the second half, and when we start to look at not preloading phases and going all the way into phase 4, think about a JKL-led Jedi team, CLS plus 2PO 3-pack to really do well with all the CMs in the event. And let's also recognize that CG themselves may be giving us more support in this event by introducing another light side GL for us. If you followed along up to this point, it really means that as a guild, we are going to be incredibly strong at every point this year, especially once we reach a point of 50. And what that means is 50 across this board. 50 players with all of this 50 farmed and geared and rehearsed in practice. I shouldn't also neglect to mention modded perfectly, and let's segue into that. But such a foundation of 50 will make us pretty much unbeatable, and we will always overachieve our goals. As a side note, while you're doing your work and farming towards your next GL or your next objective, please pay special attention to some of the tunes that our players have found to be GL killers. And I throw in a fun one, the Armorer. Rod Mall has shown through his live streaming how Armorer works with his Sith Eternal Emperor, and it's a lot of fun. So even a 3-star Armorer at a decent gear level, I think he had it maybe at G8, G9, does some pretty nice damage with his C, and I bet you it works well with other tunes as well. There's a lot here on this slide, so I recommend that at some point you pause this presentation and give this slide a read. But the other two programs that we want to talk about are CPIT and improving arena ranks. CPIT. Because of the way our guild is organized, and because of the nature of the game up to the point of CPIT being rolled out, we're going to make CPIT an optional join. And what I'll do is I will personally work with the players who are very keen to solve CPIT and get the rewards to create a model where we're able to solve CPIT. But make no mistake about it, every player in Tython should be thinking about CPIT. As the game progresses through this year and into next year, R8 pieces and the other loot that comes from participating in CPIT are going to be important for your game. At some point, playing the game the way that you did in 2020 or 2019 is just going to be too slow for you. You're not going to develop as fast as you want to. You're going to see other players around you develop faster, and you're going to become frustrated with the game. And I will tell you right now, the frustration comes from not investing enough at this point in the game to make sure that you are speedily developing in the latter half of this year. CPIT is going to be a weekly loot box treasure chest for every player who participates in it. So take a hard look at it. Think about it over the course of this week, and next week we will produce a deep dive Tython model for all Tythonians to take a look at and see how they can participate in CPIT and get the rewards out of the raid. From an arena point of view, though, you don't have to wait to R5 your teams for CPIT to work on your arena ranks. If you talk to people like Chad and Pat and Rod Mall, they are live streaming and ready, willing, and able to take on your questions specific for you and where you stand in your arena to improve your ranks. You will need some level of base crystal income above and beyond the normal 165 dailies that CG gives us, plus the extra 500 over the course of the month, or some extra crystals you might get from guild events. You will need an extra 400 at least crystals from your arenas to kind of comfortably game, to comfortably farm GLs, to comfortably relic teams to R5 plus. There are some hard to find, hard to farm pieces like the Electrium Conductors that you'll just want to have a bank of crystals such that you can just spend them and immediately relic up your teams. This is actually a very easy grab for all Tythonians, because if you've been working on your teams in 2020, then people like Chad can jump in and help you take the next steps here in 2021. And finally, I don't think I'll ever make a presentation without talking about mods. If you are a free-to-play player, mods are your best friend, even though they are an extremely challenging topic for all of us, including yours truly. All you have to do is watch some of the mods videos and then use Grand Ivory to mod the top teams that you take into TW and TB, and you will always be successful. But you have to put in the work. The game itself does not really have tools that help you do this work. The automod tool is average to a below average assist on this topic. This is an area where you have to roll up your sleeves, dig in, understand the topic as best as you can, and then create a daily, weekly, monthly process for yourself to consistently farm mods, slice mods, sell mods, and place mods onto your valued tunes. The great thing about this is once you start investing in that approach, you will be very successful in both player arenas and in guild events. So having walked through that whole presentation, I always like to present my plan for the teams that I am managing for Tython. My main team in this first half, you can see that I've lined up getting cam ready, starting the Kylo farm, working on C-Pit teams, making sure that my Malevolence is 7-starred, and getting through Sith Empire. For the second half, I want to move from being cam ready to cam consistent, cam reliable. I want to finish up that Kylo farm and start to move into a JKL and JML farm so that I can see a lot of balance between dark side geo performance and light side geo performance. And then I want to push that Kylo team into a very C-Pit strong team that can do, say, upwards of 50% damage on phase 1 in C-Pit. These are things, again, I'll go through in more detail next week. On the Blackbeard side, Blackbeard, of course, is the stronger account and is farther along. You can see, though, I'm doing a lot of the same things on the Blackbeard side that I'm doing on the Clown side. I'm just ahead on the Blackbeard side. In both cases, by working on these objectives for the first half and then the other objectives for the second half, my belief is that every goal I've set for Tythonians from TW to TB to C-Pit, these two accounts will strongly support. So you can count on me to be part of the plan. I know this is a lot to digest coming out of the gate here in 2021, but I hope that everybody who's reading this presentation or listening to the presentation feels that they've got a lot of fun ahead of them with their teams and being here in Tython. I think all the investments that people have made with their teams over the last couple of years, they should really mature now. You should be able to reap those benefits now and really enjoy them. And at the same token, while you're enjoying them in the guild events like TW and TB, you work on the future. You work on your C-Pit teams. You work on your GL and your GL counters. You work on taking the GLs that you know you're going to be hatching and being able to leverage them in these guild events to get more and more fun out of the game. I think 2021 is going to be a great year. I think we really do understand now how to focus farm and get the most out of our farming. We understand a lot about mods and how to leverage mods to beat our enemy. And I think we also understand how to settle back a bit. We understand it's going to take months for some of these good things to happen. And if it's going to take months, we can, on a daily basis, relax, confident in the knowledge that we've done enough in 2020 to be strong until those months bring us a new GL counter, a new C-Pit team, a new GL, and so on and so forth. I also want to close by saying that if you have any other ideas or feedback, please let us know. The Officer Corps is just a fantastic group of people who are very passionate about this game and passionate about this guild. It's an open door policy for any of us, a quick DM or a quick note in a public channel, and we'll try to engage on your question as quickly as possible. And likewise, if you've got some good ideas for the guild, and if any of the game modes that we play are fun for you to the level that you'd like to share your ideas and strategies and lead from the front, we'd love for you to be an officer. This year, we're going to ask more and more people to rotate in to become an officer. We're going to continue to build out a guild model that is based on a round table of input, not just a small group of people dictating our approach. And as a result, all 50 of us will really enjoy playing this game to the levels that we play it. Thank you, all of you, for a great 2020. I'm really excited about 2021, and I can't wait to celebrate your individual achievements throughout 2021. Game on, Tython.